Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Monday, August the 14th, 2017. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. We do create multiple hypotheses in order to have a plan in place. We do not know what the market's going to do. Therefore, we wait to see what the market is showing us, and then execute the plan that best suits what the market is doing. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to, and then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the regular trading hours. I am inviting guests in this week for free trials. If you're interested, send me an email or contact me through Twitter or on Skype. Okay, so with that said, let's just read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. Okay, so taking a look at Friday. Friday, our main hypothesis, and again, I had that problem with the go-to, so we didn't actually have a pre-market session on Friday, but in our live trade room, I did put up my main hypothesis, which was to be buying up to target the 45.75 area with the takeout of the overnight high, and then find some responsive sellers there and start moving back down. I did not expect for a huge amount of range. I was expecting for rotations and a balanced day after that breakout day on Thursday, and I was looking for us to trade between 45 and 35. So if we take a look at our trade level target that I posted in the room, you can see that we opened, we moved up, we failed to take out the LVN at first, came back down, tested the lower side of the range, came within one tick of the RTH low from Thursday, and then we rotated up into that 45. The sellers started stepping in. We rotated back 3.25 points, almost broke out, got to 46.50, and then the sellers came back in and rotated us all the way back down into this lower distribution. And basically, we went sideways and we created this Gaussian distribution, and we traded basically between the 45 and the 35 with a little bit of a breakout on the top side, but basically going sideways. Going into the Globex, we opened auctioned. Our week open for the week is at 24.41.50. I always go by the full session open, not the RTH open. And our inventory is pretty much 100% net long. And we've created this P shape. It's actually like an F shape, but we created this P-shaped profile, and we're going to open up with a fairly large gap, about a 14-point gap up this morning if we stay up in this 54 area. And we'll talk about this in just a few minutes. But let's take a quick look at the news. There's no real news today. We've got pretty quiet news day today. Through the week, 8:30, we've got tomorrow morning, we have core retail sales, Empire State Manufacturing, we've got business inventories and NHB housing at 10 o'clock. Wednesday, we've got the Fed minutes coming out at 2 o'clock. 8:30, we've got building permits and housing starts. So it's going to be quiet today and tomorrow in terms of news. And then as we move forward in the week, we start getting some larger news events that could help move this market a bit. So each morning I like to start my day with a very basic candlestick chart. I use my paper money on TOS with just a 9 EMA and a 20 SMA. And what I'm looking for slope separation, where the trend is being challenged, where the trend is being violated, and what is the strength of the trend. I work my way from a monthly down into the intraday. You see on the monthly, I've got this trend line that's drawn on the daily, but you can see clearly that we're one time framing up on the monthly. We've got great slope and separation on the 9 and the 20, and nowhere close to challenging this trend on the monthly. On the weekly, you can see we came down and challenged the trend on the 9 EMA. We broke below it on the Monday. On the Friday in Globex, we went and tested that 30 and a quarter area, that gap zone that we'll talk about in just a couple minutes, and then we bounced. And from there, in the Globex tonight, we've even gone up a little bit higher. But the trend is holding. We have lost a little bit of slope and separation on the weekly. On the daily, you can see this trend line. We've come down and tested it, and so far we've bounced, but we're below the 9 and the 20, and we're coming up to the 9 to test it from below, and that test will be in the 24.5875 area. So we are challenging the trend on the daily. Going into the intraday, you can see that we popped off of that trend line, and now we're back above the 9 and the 20. We did have this downward trend starting, and they're violating it and taking it back. So as we move down into the smaller time frames, going to the 1 hour, you can see we've got good slope, good separation, had a bit of a foobar technical gap, and a move down into test the 9 from above, and we've bounced so far. Going to the 30-minute, same thing, kind of a consolidation mode right here, and going sideways, and then going to the 15-minute, again, we're in a consolidation mode, and then on the 5-minute, same thing. So the longer time frame is still intact, and we challenged it going into the intermediate time frames, and then on the smaller intraday time frames, we're kind of holding it and moving up. If I take a look at the structure, you can see just a bit of a narrative where we are within the structure. We had this large consolidation, which basically went from May through to the breakout in July. Our microcomposite VPOC was down here at 24.3550. We broke up out of that balance, and then we created new value here at 57.75, and then we came up and created this balance that we were in for the last 20 odd days, and created the new all-time high at 88.50. The microcomposite VPOC is at 69.75, and then we had our breakout day on Thursday and came down. Where did we come down to? Right to our prior value. We talked about this in the room the last week or so. We said if we broke back out again of this balance, we'd already come down to where the accepted value after the breakout of the longer time frame. We said that if we broke back out of this balance again and got below our key line in the sand, which was at 24.61, shifted to 24.60, that we would likely not hold, and that we'd come down, and where our target was this 40.70, and we actually even broke through that and came right back to where they accepted value earlier in the longer time frame balance at the 35.50. And then on Friday, we said we had our breakout day. Now we need the balancing day, and we were looking for rotations between 45 and 35. That's what we've got. Our 2-day microcomposite is now 39.50, and in the Globex, we've broken above there and come up and got above the 51.75. We're basically right back at the 50% retracement of the significant breakout day, and trading inside of this low value or volume area between the 57 and the 49. So if we're looking for key lines in the sand, it's not going to change. The 60 is going to be our key line in the sand above. Our key line in the sand below, believe it or not, is going to be this 49.75. And the reason it's going to be the 49.75 is if we don't hold it, we're likely going to come down and test the range high of Friday, which was at the 46.50. And this will actually give us an opportunity to short into that. But gap rules are going to be in play. If we do not, we're going to have basically a more than 12%, a 12-point gap, and that gives us probably around, I think it's about 38% probability that that gap will be filled. So during the initial balance, we want to be watching to see if we do not close that gap. If we don't close that gap, then we're more likely to get a balance day above and chop around in the upper distribution from Thursday, or come back and test the 60 from the low. So in terms of the levels, let's take a look at our levels. Our overnight high is 55.50. Our overnight low is 41.50. And our VPOC, Globex VPOC, is not likely going to change, 53.75. Now, our 20 period full session daily average true range is running right now at 13.55. So off of the low overnight, our upside ATR has already been taken out. Our upside ATR is 55. We've already hit 55.50. And off of the high overnight of 55.50, our daily ATR downside target is down here at 41.50. So we've basically traded the full average true range of a full session in the Globex. So we're not looking for a lot of range expansion. We're looking for balance above the prior day. So key level going to be watching is this 49. Sorry, let me just open this up here. 49.75. And then targeting this 46.50. And hold on one second. Sorry, Don, I just had to mute your mic there for a second. And then we've got this LVN. Got this LVN right here that we can look at the 50-50. So I'm going to move this up just slightly up into the 50-50 and still targeting a move towards the gap fill. Now, if we open up where we are right now at 53.50, and again, I can only approximate this, and our close from Friday at 40.25, our half gap fill is going to be 46.75. So just one tick above the prior day. So that's our half gap fill. Sorry. And again, this is approximate right now because of the fact that we are still in the Globex, and we could open up a little bit higher. And we'll adjust this as we move into the prior session. In terms of our upward levels, like I said, the 24.60 is going to be our key line in the sand above. And then above the 60, we're going to be targeting the value area low from the balance area here at the 65.25. It's just one tick above this naked VPOC. There is that range high from Thursday at the 63. So we got to put a trade level there, and I'll be looking for breakout trades into that 65. We're adding on contracts if we get above it. And then, of course, the micro composite VPOC is just above there at the 69.50. And we're right back into the balance. And just above that is where we tried to hold value. The last 9 days we were up here at 71.75. And then the naked close up here at 73.25. And then our next key resistance level doesn't really come in until that prior all-time high up here at the 80.50 And then just levels to look at below the 4650. We're looking for target 2 down here into the 43, and if we get into value, a move down to take out the overnight low, and a 80% destination trade if we hold in here within for 2 TPO counts, and a move down to take out the naked VPOC and test the other side of the value area for the 80% destination trade, and down here into the 38. Below that, it's all back towards the 3550, the micro composite VPOC from that longer time frame balance area, and a move down into the naked close at 34 and back towards that gap. We still have this gap below here, and the half gap fill of that gap is down at the 29.75. We got to the 30 and a quarter in the GlobeX, so that gap still remains open. So those are our levels. What are our hypotheses? Well, we're going to be opening up outside of range, outside of value, and we're going to get our gap rules going. So my main hypothesis today is a rotation day between the 60 and the 46, and creating and filling in this low value area between 57.50 and 49.50. So I'm looking for an open auction out of range. I'm looking for a move down towards this 49.75 area. Then I'm looking for responsive buyers to step in, rotate us back up, try to continue this trend up towards the 57.50. And I'm going to put that target in there, 57.50. And then basically I'm looking for balancing and a rotational day here. That is hypo 1. Hypo 2 is an open auction out of range. And I'm looking, because of the gap, a gap and go day. So I'm looking for an open auction out of range, a push up into the 60 area, chop around in the 60 area, and then push up and come back and challenge this area between 63 and 65 and close somewhere in this area up here. Maybe a late day probe up into the 69.50. That is hypo 2. Hypo 3 is an open auction out of range, a push up, take out the overnight high, but fail to get above the 60, somewhere between the 57.50 and the 60. I'm looking for responsive sellers to step in and rotate us down towards the 49 area, chop in this area, and then push down to fill the half gap, fight the high of the day, and then close back inside somewhere between the 39.50 and the 43, and that's hypo 4. And then hypo 3. And then hypo, the alternative hypo is a failure day, failure to take out the overnight high. It's very low probability, but come down, fill the gap, chop around here, and push down into this 34, 35 area and close down here. I think that's very low probability. Anyway, those are my main hypotheses for the ES. Take a quick look at gold. Gold has got the breakout we were talking about, the move back towards the 13. We went and tested that 12.98 area. We're now balancing. We've fallen back off overnight. Key line to keep an eye on right here is the 12.87 area. The value area for the 3 days is just above at 88. If we don't hold the 87.50, look for a trade to test the range low tonight and a move back down to the 1284.50. We can hold this 87 area. I'm looking for balance day today here in gold as well, around the 91. The breakout I'm looking for will be above the 94. Anything above 94, I'm looking for them to take out this fractal high here. You can see this is a $41 move, and I'd be looking for them to break into the 1300, and our main target above is still up there at the 1302. That former microcomposite VPOC that we tried to hold for the 2 days before we had that big move down, and that move all the way down, almost a 100-point move, a $100 move down into the lower 1200. Anyway, balance day in gold, chop around the 91, watch the 87.50 and the 94 70 for breakouts. Targets below are 84, and the value area we just broke out of high at 79.60. Targets above are the 98 and the 1300 and the 1302. Anyway, that's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.